everyone, it's me! That weirdo who made a video 4 weeks ago and stupidly thought it would only take a week to make the follow-up. So I am back and I'm proper fired up for this. So do you remember what happened last time? Let me give you a recap. So last time on Time Machine Madness, we investigated the video Does the Vatican Have a Time Machine by All-Time Conspiracy, where we looked at Pellegrino Arnetti, a Catholic priest, Gregorian chant music fanatic and all-round mad lad. He claimed that he wanted to know where sounds go, so got top scientists together and built a time machine. When pressed about it, he claimed that everyone who could back him up was dead. When it came to explaining how it worked, all we found out about it was that it had buttons, levers and dials, resulting in me making a funny but too long skit, which was a mistake I definitely don't make again in about 9 minutes time. That was as far as I got in the first part, as my PC and camera malfunctioned, resulting in me using bleak music and overusing fade to black transitions like the dramatic diva that I am. I've managed to just about fix things, and me being the genius that I am, I came up with an idea. If you're expecting a brilliant idea to happen here, prepare to lower your expectations. Because in fact, all I managed to do was come up with the idea of using a webcam and a camera at the same time. Hopefully I should be able to make cool little switches, like this. No? Huh? Nice. I hope that's easy to edit. I've just realised I've never actually done 2 cameras before, so it could actually be a nightmare. Yeah, thanks to the help of some YouTube tutorials, it was surprisingly easy. Although I wish I'd taken a couple of courses on where to position the cameras, because one of them looks like surveillance footage, and the other one looks so zoomed in and grainy that you would think I'd recorded it sometime in the 1930s. And so that's where we are right now. I'm so excited about this. I'm gonna ditch the chair. That's right. Hang on. Stupid thing. That's right. This video is going to be chairless, because that's the kind of crazy kid that I am. So with no further ado, let's begin Time Machine Madness, Part 2.
The machine could also track specific individuals. It worked by receiving, decoding, and reproducing the electromagnetic radiation left behind from past events.
Right, so it's only taken me 9 seconds to find something to pick a hole in. The electromagnetic radiation nonsense there, that's not possible. That can't be done. That isn't how electromagnetism works. Events don't create electromagnetic radiation. You can't use it as some sort of timestamp like a YouTube video.
Ernetti claimed he had witnessed many past events, such as an apparent performance in Rome in 169 BC of a supposed lost tragedy, Thyestes, by Quintus Ennius.
He is the wrong person to own a time machine. Let your imagination run wild for a second and think about what you would do if you had a time machine. You could actually get to the bottom of every single conspiracy that's ever existed, but instead goes back to 169 AD. And you just know that he's gone back there because he wants to listen to some banging Gregorian chants. You know, he wants to see the original... I don't know any Gregorian chant bands. I don't know why in my head I was like, I'll just start the sentence and then the answer will just come to me while I'm talking. Of course, I panicked during recording. Everyone knows that the best Gregorian chant band at the moment is Harmonium Mundi, with classics such as In Exit to Israel and Deum Verum. Personally, I'm a bit old school, so I prefer Dominus Regnavit. See, my original plan was to put on some Gregorian chant music and start raving to it. Unfortunately, the band have picked up a bit of a reputation for claiming videos with their music in it. It's not very Christian of them, is it? Anyway, on with the show.
With the help of the chronovisor, Ernetti transcribed the full text of the play. At least, he said so.
Why do I have a feeling the foundations of this story are about to start crumbling?
Dr. Eldred believes that Ernetti himself wrote the play. In fact, the text appears to be a lot shorter than most of Ennius's plays at the time. Moreover, lots of the words in the manuscript did not appear in the Latin language until 2 centuries after the play was first performed. The words and patterns of repetitions also seem to suggest the playwright had limited knowledge of Latin, which is bizarre since Latin was Quintus Ennius's native language.
Oh, big man. That's... I don't think you're going to wriggle out of this one. You can just about get away with saying the play's shorter than the normal play, but it looks like it was written in Latin very badly, which would be weird for someone who speaks fluent Latin. Is almost totally got you. And as if that wasn't bad enough, yeah, these words didn't exist at the time. Mate, you're not getting out of that. So, are you convinced that the Vatican have a time machine yet? No? Then feast your eyes on this.
On May the 2nd, 1972, La Domenica del Corriere, an Italian weekly news magazine, published a picture submitted by Father Ernetti. According to Ernetti, the photograph portrayed Christ at his crucifixion. Once again, he claimed he could observe the event and take the picture thanks to the chronovisor.
Now we're into the juicy stuff. A photo of Jesus. He's a Catholic priest, so I would expect him to take a photo of Christ. I think for most Christians that is literally where they would go.
However, there was an almost identical photograph of a wooden carving by Spanish sculptor Lorenzo Culo Valera. It looks just the same as Ernetti's. The resemblance calls the priest's reliability into question again.
Oh, mate, come on. That's not even, it's a bit similar. He has literally taken a photo of a statue. I knew it looked really suspicious. I think it's the fact the eyes, there's no detail in them whatsoever. I'm really annoyed. He never would have got away with it. He must have known he wasn't getting away with this one. Okay, so as far as I'm concerned, on both counts, he's been called out and he's got no room to manoeuvre at all. Certainly not looking good for our priesty friend here, is it? Luckily, his best friend is going to step in with an airtight defence. Airtight.
On the other hand, Father Brun thinks the two photos are so similar because, from what he knows, Lorenzo Culo Valera sculpted the wooden carving based on the description of a nun. The woman claimed she had a vision of Jesus' crucifixion. Brun believes that the nun described Christ's face so accurately that the two pictures look the same because they are both true representations of Jesus upon the cross.
You've got this wood carver who met a nun who had a vision of Jesus, described it to the guy, and then he made a wood carving. But because the description from the nun was so good, it's ended up looking identical to the photo. Is that what you're asking us to believe? I can't even pretend. I can't do it. It's utter horseshit. It's such an incredible claim. I mean, both of them are as mad as each other.
An anonymous relative revealed that on his deathbed the priest confessed he had written the Thyestes play himself, and that the photograph of Christ was a fraud. But the same mysterious source also affirmed that Ernetti kept claiming the machine worked for real, to his very last breath.
Yeah, according to him, he said on his deathbed, yeah, I faked the script and I faked the photo, but I did definitely have a time machine. So, like I said, it's still not 100%. He could well have one, and even on his deathbed, he still claimed he owned one. So, where is it? Would be my first question. Hopefully, it'll explain what happened to it after he died.
In 2017, author and researcher Alfred Weber stated that in the 1960s, the Vatican supposedly shared quantum access technology with the CIA and possibly Britain's MI5.
So I'm going to have to look into quantum access technology, but I'm pretty sure that's not a thing. Give me 1 second, I'm just going to double check. So that's not a thing.
In 1988, a decree issued by the church stated that anyone found using this kind of device would be promptly excommunicated. So why ban a machine that doesn't exist?
Yeah, the Vatican out of nowhere have just gone, nobody's allowed to use the time machines. What time machines? Any time machine. Well, why are you mentioning time machines? None of us have time machines. They haven't been invented. No, they don't exist, do they? But if they do exist, you mustn't use them. If you just walked out here and said, none of you are allowed to use a machine that blocks out the sun, the first thing we would say is, who's got a machine that blocks out the sun? This is very much a who smelt it, dealt it situation. You have brought up a time machine. You have told us that using a time machine is bad. Therefore, we now think that you own a time machine. Well, we don't own a time machine. And even if we did, we wouldn't use it. Why do you keep using that disclaimer? Do you have a time machine or not? We do not have a time machine. Anyone who uses it would be banned from the church, which you can't because it doesn't exist. But if it exists, and I'm not saying it exists or that we have one, but if it does exist, don't use it. You are not allowed to use our time machine, which we don't have. And anyone who uses our time machine, which we don't own, is banned. You've got a time machine, haven't you?
There will be no more private life. It's an open door to the most frightening dictatorship that the Earth has ever known. In the end, we all agreed to disassemble the chronovisor.
They're basically going, we invented a time machine. I used it for good. I only used it for going back and making up nonsense about plays. Actually, he didn't bring up any other examples, did he? And of course he's right. The guy's admitted to lying about the photo. He's admitted to lying about the script. And of course, even when he made the claim, there was no one alive to verify it. So in conclusion, this conspiracy was balls. It was total balls. I always suspected it was going to be, but I didn't realise the extent of it. I wish I could end it with a degree of mystery like Shane Dawson going, there's plenty to think about, everyone. But there's nothing. Nothing whatsoever. I really enjoyed making this, so I really hope that I can make more, but I can't think of any conspiracy that would be as ridiculous as the Vatican owning a time machine. But having said that, the internet is a vast, vast place. So that's it from me. I'm going to end the video with the usual outtakes and nonsense at the end. If you liked it, then hit the buttons and do the thing. See you next time, everyone. Bye! This time I'm going to try it with the record button on. Hi and welcome back to Time Machine Madness Part 2. If you remember correctly, why did I bother with that? I normally try and avoid looking at the viewfinder, but when you take a look at yourself with a pair of boxer shorts on your head, it's quite difficult not to watch yourself. Said the priest to the altar boy. It's too dumb. I'm not putting that in. There is no way I'm putting that in. You know when you write something down and you think, I will definitely be able to do that with a straight face? I'm in cringe overload here. Hey, baby. Me? It's just my boxers. Because my too big to fit in them. You're probably thinking to yourself, oh, no, I always do that. Why do I always go, you're probably thinking to yourself? It's always your go-to, Beany. It's every time I do that, I end up cutting it out. So God knows why I bother doing it. You're gonna make some content, clap your hands. If you're gonna make some content, clap your hands. Oh, for fuck. If you're gonna make some content and you need to sync your audio, if you're gonna make some content, clap your hands. True professional. Managed to hire two of the brightest people of his generation, and I can't do it. Right, this isn't going to work. It. I thought that would work. It's just too annoying. Forget the skit. It's not happening.